It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back and happy Friday. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you to everyone for the birthday wishes this week. We had a great birthday, but now we're back to talk about some Bravo drama. Before we jump into that, though, I did pin at the top of the live chat. We want to do something extra fun, extra special, and a change of scenery for all of our members only. So we are doing a live called Let's Whine About It on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 4 p.m. Pacific. I always hate the time changes. Whatever. It is what it is, where we get to talk about more personal things happening in our lives, and we all get to kind of engage in the conversation. It's going to be a lot of fun, so grab your favorite glass of wine or whatever you drink, I don't care, and join us on Monday. With that, guys, don't forget to smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. Let's welcome Jason. Hi.
Well, that long pause had me like waiting. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I like a little bit of a suspenseful moment, you know?
Yeah, you created one. You know what I have to say, with all of the birthday celebrations, 4th of July, everything that's been happening this past week, I feel like we really got caught up on Bravo. We watched like 4 or 5 hours of Bravo in a row. So my mind is a mess. So where are we starting?
Okay, so we're going to start. We asked the poll. And by the way, guys, 120 in here already. Hey, good morning. Hi, Alabama camper. Hi, everyone.
Happy Friday. The weekend is right around the corner.
All right. So I want to start on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills only because I did a poll and that's where everybody's kind of leaning into. We have some kind of crazy drama right now. So we already put to bed the fact that Lisa Rinna, she went on and put out a ridiculous statement about Garcelle and how it's bullshit and she refuses to accept this because if she says anything to Garcelle, then she's automatically a racist. So for all of us watching, all of us hoes and pussies, that's what she said, then we can go watch The Real Housewives of Dubai. Now, we know The Real Housewives of Dubai ate her alive, which was pretty comical, but more drama came out, and it wasn't really on social media. If you guys saw this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, well, you know that Erica told Garcelle's 14-year-old son, Jax, to get the f*** out of here. Get the f*** out of here, right? That's what she did. And when she did, Garcelle's like, I'm not going to call your ass out right now, while you're tipsy. I'm going to wait until the next time I see you, and hopefully you're of a sound mind. Now, Garcelle understands that right now, Erica's liquor level and tolerance is not necessarily there, and she needs to get her little prescription medication, alcohol cocktail together and watch what she says. So she's gearing up. Sutton's throwing like a mucky tea party, which, Jason, we didn't understand that either.
I can't, I just can't with that. But let's not start there. Let's start with being an adult, because I think technically you aren't supposed to mix any of that medication with alcohol, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I don't really take medication except for ibuprofen, so I don't know.
I mean, same. But, it's just like, okay, you're usually it says on the side of the bottle, do not mix with alcohol, do not operate machinery, stuff like that. But when you take that and then you take that amount of alcohol with that's like uppers and downers, and it's going to leave you in all kinds of senses. However, Garcelle is the only adult here. She is waiting to talk to Erica when Garcelle is in a sound mind and not, so upset about what she did to Jax, and waiting until she can get Erica in a moment where she can actually have a conversation. Now, what Erica did is like, no, hitting on one son and yelling at the other. I couldn't understand it to save my life. And how. And I hate using this term or this word, but she was pretty aggressive towards Jax.
Right. Well, and she said, now I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are in the live chat. One, comment and rate this week's episode of Beverly Hills, because we're going to go through all of our favorite Bravo shows and the drama surrounding them. But rate this week's episode. And also, how do you think this went down? In your opinion, was Erica wrong or no? Because what she said was, listen, your boys handle themselves very, maturely. They're very well spoken. And I kind of just treated them like one of the adults. For that, I'm sorry. But then also we see a clip of her talking to Crystal, and she's like,
yeah, Crystal, she's like, well, they're like 16 and Crystal's, they're 14.
And she's like, oh shit, well, that changes it a little bit. It doesn't matter if they're 16.
I mean, listen, but Erica on the way to Sutton's party was already having some kind of, getting a little anxious because she knows that she does have to deal with Garcelle. She knows what she did was, upsetting and wrong. So I'm interested to see how that full conversation will go.
Well, yeah, and what I didn't necessarily understand is that, we see the clip of Kyle, Maurizio, Dorit, and PK kind of laughing this off, saying that she's entitled to a blow up, right? Okay, we're going to throw that off as she's entitled to a blow up. But I like when Garcelle and Cherise Zampino are getting ready to go over to Sutton's house and they toast to like reading a bitch or whatever they said. And then, Garcelle's face, the minute that Erica gets there, her face is like, I'm going to have one drink, champagne, nothing too strong, because I'm about to get this woman all the way together and then I'll enjoy myself. Her face looks like I'm going to eat you alive. Total mama bear mode. I even said this on my last live. Like, if this were my mom, she would have probably dragged somebody across the table. Not making that right.
I mean, no, but she would have 100%.
Yeah, but you can't mess with someone's kid.
No, and it was wrong, and the whole thing was whatever. So I'm wondering what kind of conclusion we'll get from that. But we do have to talk about how mucky and gross that tea party was. Sutton, I like Sutton, but sometimes she comes off a little, and without like the right word,
be careful.
Just a little bit annoying. I mean, she's just annoying me a little bit this season. I do like her, and but every time she tries to prep for a party or a store opening, it's like, oh, this is how we do it. You do it this way. You have to have this set in order. And she gets so dramatic about it. And then it ends up like the store opening was like mediocre. The tea party was like mediocre. And I'd be so mad if I came to your new house and dressed up for you and then had to borrow your flip-flops and fur coats to go have this.
Your house is almost done. Everything except for the kitchen. You remodeled it. I mean, it's not my taste, but I also don't have like a $8 million home, so I'm not talking shit about it. But at the end of the day, your house is done. When you saw that outside was kind of nasty and mucky, you know how these women dress for any event. It doesn't matter if it's a pajama party. Half of them are wearing over $10,000 on their body plus. Why would you not just move the frickin' table inside?
I mean, I think that even the patio, the brick patio they were standing on was big enough for the table. Like I mean, whatever. It was dirty. It was dirty like the conversation that's going to happen next week at that table.
I mean, listen, I saw on Twitter where people were ripping Lisa Rinna apart saying, like it's ridiculous that she won't walk in the mud in those shoes. I don't think it's ridiculous. I think those shoes probably cost a lot of money and she didn't want to mess them up. And really, who invites someone to, listen, I went to college in Tennessee. We would do this stuff in Tennessee all the time where we would have outdoor gatherings and it was mucky and it was nasty, but we also weren't wearing a shit ton of money worth of, designer or whatever. We were usually in just overalls or like pajamas, I guess. I mean, I
don't understand though, like on Twitter when people are saying like, why couldn't she wear that in the mud? Put it in like, here for us broke folk, we'll put it into like we'll compare it. Like if I go to a place that's like very muddy and I have like great new sneakers on and I walk through, I'm going to be so pissed that there's mud all over my new sneakers. So I understand that. But I guess it's going to go with the conversation next week. A little muddy, a little dirty.
I guess. Listen, before I start bringing up callers and get an opinion on this whole Kyle Richards thing, I want to say, JMW, thank you so much for the super chat. Erica was nervous because she finally met her match. Yes. I agree with that. I think that she was, and she even said that in the confessional. She said, I'm about to go face to face with, a woman who I said something to her kid, and I know what I'm going into. So for Garcelle, I think Garcelle gives Erica a lot of passes. In this moment, I still even felt like she was gentle with Erica. She could have been so much more, upset about this than she actually was or actually showed. All of the other women are giving her a pass. And then when she's telling Erica, listen, it started at the boat. You were drunk on the boat. And then that was kind of like, okay, we gave you a pass. Then you come to my birthday party and you're still mixing shit and we're trying to give you a pass. But let me be clear with you. Don't ever talk to a child, let alone my child, like that, to where Kyle Richards interjects and she's like, hold on, Garcelle. And she's like, I'm not talking to you.
Why is Kyle always interjecting, whether it's Sutton or Diana or Garcelle and anyone else? She has to find out where she can like put her voice in. But then we skipped over that whole conversation of Maurizio, PK, and Dorit and Kyle having that like, we just love this side of Erica. It's so nice to see her like this. Where are you guys? Where are you guys? Passed out on a boat, dealing still with a lot of legal drama that's not going anytime soon. Yelling at, no, I don't think so. Did I?
Okay.
but yelling at a kid, like all of this stuff. It's like this is the side of that person you want to see.
Right. That's what I don't get. They're like letting her hair down. Letting her hair down is not being like the inherently cold ice queen that PK has dubbed her to be, and just having some laughs and relaxing a little bit. Not getting like wasted and saying, get the f out of here, get the f out of here, and passing out on the boat saying, I used to have a yacht called the Illegal. Like,
Lord have mercy.
I mean, that's what we're applauding here. Okay. Kyle Richards has gotten a lot of shit though on this episode because one, she obviously interjected when she shouldn't have when it came to Garcelle getting Erica together about the whole kid situation. But two, she kept putting her hands on Sutton, which was like a little aggressive.
So many times. Yeah.
So many times.
I even told you that while we were watching the episode. It was like, what is she doing?
Right. She kept putting her hands on Sutton. And then she also said something to the effect that, you know, when Sutton was trying to relate to Diana Jenkins about the miscarriage, which she's tried this in the past, when Diana opened up on the boat about how her brother lost his life in the war in Bosnia, she's like, you know, my dad, he took his own life. And Diana got up and walked away and she's like, I don't need to have a conversation with Sutton. Sutton wants to have a conversation with herself and make it all about her.
I mean, listen, sometimes, like I said, I use the word like she's kind of been annoying me a little bit this season, Sutton. And I see how she does try to relate to people because that's how she connects and that's her way of doing it. But for everybody, it's not taking over the light and be like, oh my God, me too. You know, I can relate to you, because sometimes that gets a little annoying and people just need an ear. Right. You know, or they just want to share a story with you. Diana's trying to share with you. She doesn't need to be shared with. I mean, listen, I'm not a Diana fan, but I'm just saying, like, this happens a lot with Sutton.
Right. I'm going to drop this link to call in really quick. And I want to, before we start taking callers, I'm just going to bring up Kyle Richards' apology, because it wasn't just the interjecting with Garcelle, putting her hands on Sutton. But then when Sutton said, I had, 2 miscarriages, Kyle was like, no, you didn't. That's bullshit. Like, no, you did. It's like, you also can't say that.
That bothered me too, because it's like, how do you know? I mean, like, these women as friends, usually just friends from the TV show. You don't know what Sutton's been through every day in her life. I mean, did Kyle know Sutton for the past 20 years? No. So right. How does she know? I agree. Very interesting.
Mike said, I agree with Jason. I do think that she has a very awkward way of communicating. I do too. And then also Stacy said, Kyle doubled down. There was no apology. Let's see Kyle if you would call this an apology, Jason.
Wait, okay.
Here we go. Kyle Richards. When I woke up the next morning, I thought about what happened the night before. Oh, let's go to the first one. Sorry. Hi, guys. I wanted to share some things with you about this week's episode. I have not seen it yet, but I have seen some of the clips floating around online. I don't believe that when she put this out, because we know for a fact that they get the episodes 3 to 5 days in advance. Okay. First, let's address my comment to Sutton. When Diana was sharing her story about having a miscarriage, I was taken aback because I felt like Sutton wasn't letting Diana have her moment to share what she had just recently gone through. I obviously had a few drinks and didn't express myself clearly, and I was disappointed in the way I handled myself together. When I woke up the next morning, I thought about what happened the night before, and I realized that maybe Sutton was sharing her story with Diana to connect with her in some way. I immediately called Sutton and apologized to her. I consider Sutton a close friend and care about her a lot. Sutton accepted my apology, and we moved on. Now on to the clip where Maurizio, PK, Dorit, and I are discussing Erica's behavior at Garcelle's party. I had not seen what Erica said to Jax in person, but was told about it the following day, along with some funny moments as well. When I said it's not funny, but it's funny, I meant Erica being drunk was funny, but what she said to Jax was not. I hope you know me well enough to know by now I certainly do not condone speaking to children like that. But also Kyle interjected in Garcelle, and we're going to see this in next week's episode, when Garcelle was trying to have that conversation with Erica, Kyle interjected and was like, come on, Garcelle, she can have a pass. So,
I mean, here's the thing about Kyle before you continue. She always puts her nose where it doesn't belong. And it's annoying, but at the same time, I've said this before, I can't imagine the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills without Kyle Richards. You know what I mean? It's like, stop. It's like that, the little sister you say, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Stay out of it. And keeps coming and interjecting. That is Kyle Richards to me.
Okay. We are all parents and certainly wouldn't want anyone speaking to any of our children like that. Until Mexico, we had never seen Erica drink like that. So this was new behavior that we were seeing. I think while focusing on that, the more important issue was being minimalized. Anyway, I never post things like this, but I felt absolutely terrible watching these clips, so I wanted to share with you. Let's bring up some callers. Before we do, I also wanted to add in Kathy Hilton just confirmed that she will be appearing on the July 20th episode. So we will be getting her. And she also said that Kim Richards is in talks to returning back to the show. And she thinks that her and Kyle can talk Kim into it. Leah Sessions, thank you so much. Diana was not sharing. That was trauma dumping to shut Sutton down. Let's go ahead and bring in callers. Hi, Tess.
Oh, hi. Balls.
Hey,
I'm
Tess.
sorry. I had my tablet up. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right.
I'm so happy you caught a live.
I know. I've never called in here before. So.
Oh, well, hey, welcome. I feel like I know you so well.
I know. I used to leave like 500 word like comments until, medication, but
Okay.
But I thought I'd call in, got my confidence up. So.
All
Nice.
right. Well,
Welcome.
we love that. And I did want to ask you, obviously you're watching Beverly Hills, right?
Yes.
Okay. So with Kyle interjecting in the moment that Garcelle's talking to, we're going to play right or wrong. There's three instances. With her interjecting when Garcelle's talking to Erica, was she right or was she wrong?
I kind of feel like she should have just left it go. And just kind of she's been kind of trying to insert herself in a lot. And she was even kind of doing it with Sutton and Diana. I think she kind of, I get that that's kind of part of the job, but I think she's overdoing it a little much and needs to step back a bit.
Well, people were kind of defending Kyle on Twitter. So you're saying she was wrong in this matter. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
So people were interjecting on Twitter about Kyle putting her hands on Sutton because Sutton was putting her hands on Diana's knee. I don't necessarily think that's the same thing. She was trying to connect with her, whereas Kyle was like, shut up, stop it. What were your thoughts, right or wrong?
I don't think Sutton, I'm not a Diana fan. I don't think I wasn't to begin with. And then the stuff with Philly Diva, I'm just, done with Diana. But Sutton shouldn't have been touching her, especially after she said, don't touch me, personal space. But then Kyle took it to the next level. So it was don't touch each other like that.
Well, Sutton likes to touch too. She likes to touch the knee or touch my brother does that. I don't know what it is.
Oh my gosh, I hate being touched.
I can't. Yeah, I know Adam doesn't even like hugs. It's when he meets people, he barely shakes their hand.
Yeah, I'm like Howie Mandel in the sense that I get really weirded out about we went to Subway the other day and I saw the woman change out her gloves and she didn't wash her hands and I'm just a weird germ person and she started to grab my sandwich and she was cutting it and I was like, I don't want that piece of bread because you didn't wash your hands and I would please prefer if you'd wash your hands and then make my sandwich and I'm so sorry, I don't mean to be that person. And she's like, no, I understand. And I was like, thank you because I won't eat it.
Personal space too, especially when people are upset and irritated. Just don't put your you don't want to put your hands on other people, especially when you're yelling at each other and that sort of thing. That's you don't want to do it anyway, especially when someone tells you not to, but especially when tensions are high, it's not a good idea.
So 2 out of 3 wrong. Yes. And then for Kyle to interject when Sutton was trying to relate to Diana and talk about her miscarriages, and she called her pretty much a liar and saying that's not true. But Kyle did say that she had a conversation with her the next day and moved on from that. That's what she said in her statement. She right or wrong?
Which one for this one, Sutton or Kyle?
Kyle, for telling Sutton that, she's bullshitting about her miscarriages.
Yeah, see, I'm so sorry, Kyle, but I'm gonna have to go with wrong for three on this one.
In my experience, I'm not a woman, obviously, and I've never had miscarriages, but my aunt has, my mom has, and they don't share it with people. They haven't shared it with all their friends. So I wouldn't imagine that, I think that, I don't know. I felt like Kyle overstepped a little bit there. And
I will say that I understand Sutton because I think that she and I have, obviously I don't know her for sure, but I think we might have some of that frantic, nervous mindset. And I do that sometimes when people are sharing with me, I try to relate to something with a story, because that's kind of just how my brain works. And sometimes but I agree. I think that even though I like Sutton, she does need to realize that sometimes that comes across like you're trying to make it about you. I don't think she was.
I think too, we're talking about Tess too, is I do the same thing. I'll try to also relate if I have a similar story or if it's very relatable. But losing, it just seems a little off, and it seems like Sutton has to throw in just anything. Well, I mean, this happened to me too. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? You know,
That's why,
it's confusing.
Yeah, I like her. I like her a lot. She's one of my favorites, but I do think that sometimes she needs to rein it in a little bit. Like, I like her, but she's not perfect.
Rein it in, Sutton.
Rein it in.
Rein it in, Sutton. We like you.
Like I said, I love her, but I think she tries too hard a little bit, I guess is what I'm trying to say sometimes.
Okay.
To relate to people.
Okay. All right. Well, Tess, we're definitely hitting Ultimate Girls Trip Southern Charm in Dubai. So if you're around, then we'll bring you back up. We're going to see what some other callers think and see if anyone has a difference of opinion.
Hell yeah.
Bye, Tess.
Bye.
All right, guys, I see we have a bunch of callers in here, so I'm going to try to hit as many as possible before we go on to the next topic, so we're not spending too much time on Beverly Hills, but let's bring up some that we haven't seen in a while. Bad and Bougie, hello.
Hey.
Hey, how's my two favorite guys?
Hi.
How are you doing?
I miss you guys.
Miss you, I know.
All right, guys, I see you have a bunch of callers.
No.
Okay, there's a little bit of an echo, Reggie. Sorry. I think you have an extra window open. I'm going to go ahead and bring up really quick Mike, and then I'm going to bring up Krista, Janelle, and Joe. All right. So, first of all, it's been a long time. Hi, guys.
Hi.
What up? Happy belated, Adam, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy 29th. Yeah, I had a great day, but I can't believe I just turned 29. And Jason's like, get out of my face.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, you just a baby. You just a baby.
Thank you.
I'm going to be 30 in 5 days. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Cancer. Forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm a Cancer. My
Happy
whole entire
30th.
family's going to Boys Town with me, which is pretty cool. Even my grandma's coming.
That'll be fun.
I love a good family. Like when we lived in Los Angeles and we had family come in town, we would always bring them to West Hollywood. And my dad's like this big kind of like Southern guy who's like, son. And I'm like, oh, I'm taking you to the Abbey. So,
It's hilarious.
all right. So before we move on to the next topics, I did want to kind of pick your brains
Yes.
on what did you think about, let's just go back to Garcelle and Erica for a second, because Garcelle, in my opinion, I think that Erica got off pretty light on this. I think that Garcelle could have been a lot more harsh about the topic. But I want to hear what you think, especially you, Bad and Bougie, you have children. What if someone talked to your kids like this?
Okay, first off, I want to give, props to Garcelle for handling herself in a classy way, but I would have went in there and cussed her I would have went in there and handled it much different. And the fact that later on in the show, she says, he's 16, it don't matter. Like, what? So her apology was not genuine.
Right.
At the end of the day, for whatever reason, and I don't want to use the R word, but for whatever reason, they think that it's open season on Garcelle and her children, and that the things, that they say to them can be just lightly, just brushed off. And I'm to the point where I'm against the whole show now, because this is obviously racism, and they are, sweeping it under the rug for Erica. And I don't like it. And it's very, very, very offensive. It's very offensive that Dorit would say, oh my God, I was so sick to my stomach. But then when she's around her other friends, oh, it's no big deal. So for me, the way that was handled, it is so offensive. I'm so offended. Like, I'm so offended. Like, how do you think you can brush it off and say, oh, well, I thought he was 16, but if he's 16, then you can tell him 3 times to get the F out of here? Who talks
just to piggyback
children?
off you too, I love the comparison of like, what if it was Portia, Kyle's kid, or what if it was,
Exactly.
I mean, we would be talking about this a lot longer.
To be fair,
Right.
too,
it wouldn't have been shut down like that.
Lisa
Exactly.
Rinna was pissed off at Garcelle and made it a whole storyline when Garcelle asked her, do you think that maybe because Lisa Rinna introduced her daughter's, eating disorders onto the show, and she gave them this outlet to talk about it. So in doing so, Garcelle asked her, she's like, do you think you dancing, half naked or whatever on social media, do you think that could trigger those things? And Lisa Rinna was like, how dare you ever bring my children into it? Well, where was that same kind of angst when it came to Erica talking to Garcelle's kid?
Exactly. And then the thing was, not only was she offensive to me, that was very offensive to her older son as well. Even though she calls herself commenting him or coming on to him or whatever, he's obviously a man that is taken. He has a relationship, he has a new baby. And it just seems to me that they can say and do whatever to Garcelle. Dorit yelled at her last year, you know, and it's like everything they do is just swept under the rug. It's okay to treat Garcelle and her children and her family any type of way, and it's okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with that.
You agree?
For me, I think I agree with some of it. I think this was probably one of the most cringeworthy episodes I've seen from Beverly Hills in a long time. Maybe like even more cringe than Camille bringing up the abuse. Like that was a pretty tense moment. But it just shows that these women, none of them can really handle their alcohol. I'm sure Garcelle was under the influence. It was her birthday. You didn't see her cussing people out, touching people inappropriately, crying or causing a scene. Even the way she handled Erica, I think she did it with so much class, and she was very tactful with the way she did it. She even chose not to engage because Erica was drunk, and it could have escalated into. I thought that was a very mindful thing to do. I do think Erica continues to get this pass from the women on the show. And it just shows when she cusses someone else's child out, but then they say, if it was my child, we'd have a problem. It's like, why does she get a pass because it's not your child? Because it's Garcelle's child and you don't get along with Garcelle? Is that what it is? As far as Kyle, I think the whole role of the leader of the show is getting to her head. Like she interjects into every conversation. And no one even asked for her opinion, and she thinks she's entitled to sit down and kind of play mediator, but she's a pretty one-sided mediator. And I do think that she gets stuck in the glitz and glamour that Diana brings to the show, right?
Right.
So I think that she kind of sides with Diana, even though Diana did say she was on bed rest, then came to prove a point at the party, even bringing Garcelle a copy of the book. She came to make a statement, right? She didn't come to celebrate Garcelle. We all know that she doesn't really like Garcelle. So you told everybody you were on bed rest. If it was Sutton that did that, I guarantee Kyle would be like, sit her down and say, be honest. That's Kyle's thing. Be honest, forcing her to tell everybody what the truth was, but she doesn't want to do that. And I think that Diana does a great job of putting this really intimidating energy out. And I think that the women are kind of same with Erica. None of them really put her in her place when she's saying the stupid shit that she does. And I think they're kind of intimidated by her. The only one that's not is Garcelle. And I think Sutton's finding her pair of balls, but she has such an awkward way of doing it. And a lot of time it's like I'm cringing as she's talking to these women. And when she does the whole hugging thing at the end, it's like, why are you being fake? You don't like this. It's similar when she hugged Rinna way earlier on in the season, and Garcelle was like, you don't like her? What are you saying?
You know what kind of disappoints me out of all of this too is I wish Cherise and Pino liked filming, but you can tell that she just does. Garcelle's talked about this in interviews, that she's just what kind of mess did you get me into? Because she really would have been the great person to have the diamond. I love watching her.
100%. Not only
I
that,
like her.
Yeah,
but what
I was
gonna say too, with regard to Kyle putting her hands on people like that, is absolutely different from somebody putting their hand. Me, I'm kind of like you, Adam. I don't like people in my personal space. Don't touch me. That's just how I am. But I will say, her touching her knee and saying, "Yeah, I went through that too," is totally different from Kyle grabbing her, putting her finger in her face. You remember the ladies of Atlanta got into a whole fight about putting your finger. That's very offensive to put your finger in somebody's face the way she does, and the way she kept grabbing her like that. That to me was physical violence. I'm just gonna say it. Don't put your hands on me. She literally, if you guys look at the video, because I slowed it down on my big screen and looked at it, she had her fingers imprinted into this woman's arms. like I said, that show turned me off so bad. And I've been watching it since episode 1, season 1. But the things that are going on right now, you know, and I'm just going to say this, if it would have been, you know, Portia doing it, it would have been like, oh my God, she's violent. She's violent. You know what I'm saying? But because it's Kyle, it's swept under the rug. And me personally, I'm getting tired of Bravo, because it goes more than just the ladies on the show. I'm getting tired of Bravo putting up with certain things. Now, I don't even like the Diana chick or whatever because of a lot of things that happen off the show. However, I don't know about the whole, she's suspect because she said she was on bed rest. I've been to the doctor and he says, stay in the bed for a couple of days. Just saying you're on bed rest doesn't mean you're on bed rest for a month. He could have told her, yeah, you need to stay off your feet. You need to, you know, stay in bed for a couple of days to recover. So I didn't see that as a lie she told, even though I don't like her. But I've had situations where my doctor say, yeah, stay in bed for a couple of days. And, you know, so I didn't see that as a lie.
Okay. Well, she said she wasn't coming because of, right? She wasn't going to be able to attend because of the bed rest. And then she showed up anyway, right?
Right. So again, if your doctor says stay in the bed for a couple of days, I'm sorry, my voice is so raspy. I'm coming down with a cold. No. But if the doctor says stay in bed a couple of days till you feel better, and then you feel better, what's the problem with coming? And again, I'm not defending her. I don't like her. But I've had that same situation happen. The doctors will tell you a longer period of time, but if you feel better before that, of course you can get up and go. So to me, I didn't see that as a lie at all. And again, I don't like her. But I didn't see that as a lie.
Just to be clear, you don't like her, right?
No, yes, just to be clear. I did want to say really quick, because we're 32 minutes in on Beverly Hills. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you guys down for a minute and hit Ultimate Girls Trip and also Dubai, and then I have more callers to bring up, and I'm just gonna bring up an entire panel.
All right, sounds cool.
Right. Thank you, guys.
All right, see you guys.
Happy almost birthday. Wow. So I did gather something from that conversation, and Bad and Bougie, KM does not like Diana. Is that safe? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, that's safe to say. Listen, I don't think she's anyone's biggest fan, or no one's a big fan of her.
Yeah.
I guess.
But I do agree. I do agree with her in the sense, though, too, had that have been Portia or Garcelle or anyone who was pushing Sutton back, it would have been a totally different conversation, which is messed up. So I do agree with exactly what she's saying, because that's so true. That would have been, and the like, I don't know. This, I mean, I also get kind of pissed watching some of this, but I know that we still cover it. So
and we've talked about this in Beverly Hills like so much, right? It used to be, I mean, what the show started as and what it is now is very different. And it seems like even any new housewife that comes in, or the current ones, have to come up with there has to be some big storyline. It's just so heavy now. You know, It's not as fun as it used to be when Lisa Vanderpump was running her restaurants and making jokes about Maloof Hoof. Like, that was a different time for this show. This show is it's heavy. And we've talked about this before. And that's why it's nice to watch like Below Deck or like even Ultimate Girls Trip, where they're just wild.
Well, great segue here, friend, because Ultimate Girls Trip got a little cringy this week too. First of all, let's just start here. We have Dorinda. If you guys aren't watching Ultimate Girls Trip Season 2, they are definitely delivering. Sometimes I have to talk Jason into watching it, but then once he sits down, he's all for it. Also, by the way, guys, 630 in the room. Don't forget to smash that like button. Show some love. But Jill and Dorinda are obviously going back and forth because both of these women want to be back on their shows, and they both want to be famous. Dorinda swears that she's on pause, and she's like, I broke up with my ex because the fame got to him. And Jill's like, I don't know what she's talking about because the fame got to her too. I don't really care about that. I want to talk about the most controversial part of the episode. As we got through the episode, Dorinda took us to her place of work from the time that she was like 16, 18, 14, whatever it was, to 24, the Red Lion Inn or something like that. Then we have a moment where Taylor Armstrong, I knew this was going to happen with Ultimate Girls Trip, where these women who are ex-housewives were going to go overboard and maybe give us sometimes like way overly produced moments trying to get back on their respective franchises. But Taylor Armstrong, they're sitting down, everyone's having a decent time, and she turns around and looks at Brandy across the table and says, I have something that I want to pick with you. You are pretty much a low budget housewife. And there was something that you did that pissed me off a long time ago. Do you feel like it was wrong that you outed Adrienne and her husband for having a surrogate for their kids? She's like, no, I wouldn't take it back.
But why are we talking about that now, Taylor? Like, I mean, listen, Taylor and Jill to me are like the most boring. I don't even know why they're on this Ultimate Girls trip, and Vicky, to be honest.
And Taylor though is trying for so many moments where she's screaming across the table and she's like, don't do that or I'll come across the table and you don't want that. And Brandy's like, girl, just
she's looking for a meme
and you know what? Off across the table.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No, it was kind of ridiculous to watch. And that's why I'm glad we have Phaedra on the show.
But me too, and Eva, because and I mean, I like Dorinda's craziness too. Vicky's boring me, Jill Zarin's boring me, Taylor.
I mean, just really quickly, maybe the chat can hit on this too. Like, who would you bring back from their respective franchises from this group?
Okay. Love you, Adam, and happy belated birthday. Thank you, T. Nelson. Real quick before I go on, Susie, happy birthday weekend. Adam and all July babies, you are all beautiful. Thank you, Susie. Yes, happy birthday to all of our fellow Cancers. Now, getting back to it really quick, I wanted to go into Taylor started yelling at Brandy and said, when it was us as, in the first season, it was 6 successful women. And, you were like a cinnamon stick that was put into like a shitty pot of water or something. Nobody understood the analogy. And she's like, we were good before you came on the show. Brandy looks across the table, which I don't agree with, and says, if you were so good, then why did your husband?
Yeah.
That is probably one of the tackiest, most classless things that you can say to somebody, especially
but this
because
is Brandy. This is what she's known for doing.
Well, and Phaedra said that. She's like, if you're going to throw a rock at Brandy, Brandy's going to turn around and throw 5 bullets at you. And she does do that. But have like some common sense that Taylor's daughter will also be watching this show. And now you're mentioning her husband and Taylor's, daughter's Kennedy, her dad, taking his own life, weaponizing that. That was shitty. But then Dorinda also goes in and says, what if your son died? And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? You guys are like, this is crazy.
I don't know. I enjoyed it at the beginning. I'm still enjoying it a little bit, but like, here's the heaviness. It's like, we're all competing to like get back on our franchises. That's what it feels like. So we're looking for these moments, these memes, these, quotes that people are going to use. And it's just not happening,
It's not landing.
No, it's not landing at all. And I want to say like the two I missed the most on my television. I didn't even know I would like Ava so well, but you brought up a really good point. When she was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, she was pregnant, you know? So now we're seeing a whole different Eva, and she's fun. And I even said I didn't want to see Phaedra back. I didn't want to see her on Ultimate Girls Trip. I didn't want to see her on Dubai. And I really enjoyed watching Phaedra.
Well, one thing that I'm loving watching Phaedra right now. One thing that I do like about Brandy, though, too, is she has the ability on Ultimate Girls Trip to constantly break the fourth wall. And we're seeing her do that, where she's like, you two are thirsty because you both want to get back on your shows and it's ridiculous. You're looking for a moment and you feel like you need a storyline. Your ass is boring and you two are always together and she doesn't need you. And she doesn't need you on the show. It's awkward. And I'm like,
this is Brandy's moment. That's what Brandy does. That's her looking for her moment.
That's exactly what that is.
So,
Kenzie J, thank you for the super sticker. Okay. So before we bring up the rest of the panel, because I know that we have to cut this at 55 in, we have 15 more minutes. I do want to hit Dubai really quick because there's drama going on in Dubai. Now, we watched last night's episode and Lisa Milan, I'm loving her so far. We already know that we're big fans of Caroline Stanbury, right? But this episode was kind of Caroline, like Ladies of London, coming back.
I mean, this is the Caroline that we used to see on the Ladies in London for sure.
Right. Well, Caroline Stanbury is now going back and forth on Twitter with Lisa Milan after Lisa's husband shaded her as a 50-something-year-old influencer, which she did say, I'm actually only 46. I am not 50-something. So she wants people to give her credit on that. But let's go on her Twitter really quick. So she's talking about the fact that Lisa Milan's she's claiming that her business, Mina Rowe, the maternity line that's not going to be a maternity line only anymore, is an 8-figure business. Caroline said, when my company was doing 8 figures, we had over 60 employees, factories, distribution, and investors, not just me and one assistant. I also know the guy that started the company with them. She also said, how am I being age shamed by a 40-plus-year-old has-been? I don't understand. She keeps on going. And then Sergio is getting in on this saying, I'm looking for some maternity clothes. Oh, I know the biggest in the world started by Mina. And again, they got called in a lie. Hashtag Real Housewives of Dubai. Actually, our friend funded your 8 figures business, not even ranked, and then posted the top ranked maternity brand. So Sergio is getting his housewife
Is
gold.
Sergio coming for his gold?
He
want to hold some gold?
I want to make sure that I don't show the actual video. That way it's not going to like flag us here. But hold on. Lisa Milan also came into this. All right. So after he said that, Lisa Milan came back and said, Caroline Stanbury, stay in your tax bracket. Worry about your husband's racist tweets and all the fake Richard Mille watches he wears on the show. Don't worry about me. Is Sergio trying to distract us from those racist tweets? We didn't forget. Waiting on that apology. Get a job. I would offer you one, but it takes more than being a sugar baby to work for Mina Rowe.
Lord. They're both very good at doing this.
Lisa Milan, Caroline Brooks, Chanel Ayan, and Caroline Stanbury right now are like not the ones to mess with on social because they're going on like tangents, and I'm here for every minute of it. Just like where Chanel like read Lisa Rinna up and down. It's just like one thing after another. By the way, 650 in the room. Go ahead, smash that like button. I did want to ask everybody a question in the live chat about this because Real Housewives of Dubai just experienced their lowest rated episode on Wednesday. And I want to know if you guys agree with that, or do you think it's starting to finally get good? Because this was actually my favorite episode. But Jason, you?
I'm going to have to agree. This was my favorite episode. And like we said, we had that week off, which I really do think that editing went back and had to like manipulate some stuff because it just wasn't working. Those first, 4? What are we on, 5 now?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first 4 were just kind of like, but then again, we talked about this on when we did Hot Messy Topics before. You have a new franchise with new women. We have to get to know them. Part of this is also the social media that's coming out right now. Like you said, you're loving these ladies. It was really good. And I think we'll see the ratings climb up now that people are starting to get a little more invested in the drama.
The social media is almost more entertaining to me than some of the shows.
Yeah, but it makes you want to watch it because you want to see what's going to happen. All
right, let's bring up some callers. We're going to have to keep it a little bit shorter, guys, because we have 13 minutes, but I'm going to bring up some callers right now. Hi, Nikki G. Hi, Larja Curbs.
Hi, Nikki. Hi, Larja.
Happy Friday. Happy
Friday. So ready for the weekend.
Goodness. Okay. I'm sorry. It's your show. Who's first?
Oh, no. I mean, Nikki. Well, we haven't met Nikki. Hi, Nikki.
I just have a few things that I want to say.
She has some stuff to get off of her chest. Larja, we'll let Nikki get this off her chest.
No worries, Nikki, go for it.
Thank you. First off, I'm just going to preface this with I'm a clinical therapist where I work in Houston, Texas at a mental hospital for outpatient. And I just want to say, like, to me, so when people take psychotropic drugs, it's a mental restraint, right? So it's sort of like if you're bipolar, they may give you some medication to kind of mentally restrain you. And so to me, Kanye West is like the perfect classic example of you can kind of tell when he's just like rumbling on and doing the most. And it's probably because he's decided I don't want to take those meds because he knows that it mentally restrains him. So I feel like, one, we don't know if Erica's even taking medication. Anybody can come on TV, and she said it from day one when she had on that pink dress at that party at the Reese house. Oh, I went on whatever because I was feeling well. And I'm not that all of it's completely false. She could be on medication. I'm just simply saying sometimes she's lied with a straight face. And just because someone is saying that that's what they're doing, it doesn't necessarily make it accurate. So that's number one. Number two, I just think it's so super. Well, let me start here. Regarding the son that Erica cussed out, I just feel like this. Erica, you can't cuss me out. So you certainly can't cuss out my son. So this idea that Kyle, Richard, all of the other people, I'll just call them the others, that I know there's no way Kyle would be sitting there letting Erica cuss her out or anyone else. And it's just hypocritical to me that Kyle's been on TV for however many years, and every single person, her sisters, she just drug her sister on national TV for being alcoholic for years, right? And everybody kind of looked at it like, okay, well, you know, well, she is an alcoholic and we can see Kim's behavior. So we understand, we empathize with Kyle. But suddenly Erica supposedly is drunk out of her mind and on medication, and we should just give her a pass because she's been so nice.
I didn't think about it like
That's
that.
very, that's a great analogy. Yeah.
You would think this would be more triggering for Kyle as opposed to her applauding it.
Right. Oh, I forgot about that.
It's
a great point.
Like, you know how people use this word gaslight?
Is she breaking up?
I think, yeah,
Just a
Nikki, I
little
think
bit.
you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so to me, I have a long memory. So I used to like Kyle, but then now I'm like, girl, you were fake as a television. I can't. And then the last thing I want to say is about Garcelle. I just feel as though she does exactly what she's supposed to do. There's a group of people who want Garcelle to be more abrasive towards Erica, specifically because of how she treated her son. But Garcelle has a platform. You know, she has a real job with real responsibilities, and there's so much liability that could happen regarding her behavior on this particular show. And I just think if she acted out the way that Erica is acting out, she would be read for filth. There would be no understanding for her being on TV and being brown and being a woman, because as brown women, we are not allowed to get upset or be assertive, because then we're labeled something else. Or why it's just like we could be the most educated people in America, but we still have to always be. We can't let Malcolm come out. Let me say it like that. We can let Martin come out. Because that's the person you can kind of palate. You can kind of take Martin being passive and allowing the world to see that you're a bully and then take you down. But Malcolm is like, no, I'm gonna show you right here, right now. The Constitution says that I have the right to bear arms. You know, and so if we say that and we take that mantra, then we're looked at as we're just being abrasive or we're being rude. But at the end of the day, if Garcelle went on any of these platforms and cussed out anybody, think about this, guys, and I'll say this one last thing. You remember when Erica attacked Eileen on that boat, when she even mentioned her son, just the mention of her son, and it applied to that situation on the boat, and just the mention of her son had her go all the way left. So I'm like, you can cuss out this other poor young man, and it's just so acceptable. I just
double standards.
I'll let my other person say something. I apologize for monopolizing, but that's all I had to say.
That's great points. Yeah.
Nikki, thank you for your points. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That was fantastic.
And please call in again.
You know what? I can, because I always forget when it is, and I'm excited for Kathy Hilton return on July.
Smash that bell, and you can get notified next time he uploads a video.
The only reason Kathy, or only way Kathy,
is something open?
They do bring back Kim Richards, which Kim.
I hear you.
Or Lisa Rinna, and I'm here.
Let me see.
Only.
Oh, Nikki, you thing open, but we love you, Nikki, and call back in. It was echoing. Nikki had another screen open. Nikki actually made she made some really great points. And Large, I want to ask you this, because I even just said this before when Bad and Bougie was on. Had that have been Garcelle putting her hands on Sutton, then it would have been a totally different conversation. And I honestly, wholeheartedly believe that.
Yes, I agree. You know, when there's that joke that starts off, a thief, a whore, and a liar walk into a bar. So when Erica got there, no, I'm just kidding. I was like,
where are you going with this?
I'm just kidding. But about your point, you know, I'm just going to say it like this. Okay, so racism is a nuanced thing. And if you even look at the definition of racism, in there, it has to do with disrespect. Okay, so the blatant disrespect is part of racism's sting. So when we see Erica disrespecting this child in such a blatant way, it adds to that racist undertone, right? And then on the flip side, though, with Garcelle not playing into the angry Black woman stereotype, which she could have had in full of force, because we all feel like she would be warranted to snatch Erica's ponytail at that point. But had she snatched Erica's ponytail, she would have been playing into the harmful stereotype of an angry Black woman that resorts to whatever instead of being in control of her emotions, right? So it's kind of like we're torn. Like we give her kudos for not reacting in a stereotypical way. I'm doing air quotes right now. A stereotypical way, even though it would have been warranted. right? Because like the last caller said, she would not have been given the grace that they're giving Erica. She would not have gotten the grace that they're giving Erica. They would have dragged her for filth had she reacted the way they want her to react. Because once she plays out of pocket and she plays into a stereotype, then that whole thing that Lisa Rinna is trying to trigger by her constantly bringing up race, because Garcelle isn't really playing it into the stereotypes or bringing it up. Now they're constantly bringing it up, right? So it's just like a little game of chess and strategy. And I'm kudos to Garcelle, but that lady's ponytail would have been under a couch and the ambulance would have been picking her up. You don't get to sexually harass my son. You don't get to verbally assault my other son and then pretend like you drinking is the problem. No, you are in complete control. And I agree with her too. She's faking this drunk line. She's basically Dudley Moore. Do y'all remember Dudley Moore from the 70s? He played drunk for a living, y'all. Google him, Dudley Moore. And there you can play drunk and get all the secrets of the room and still have the grace because people think you're drunk. But she's not. She's not.
Well, there was a blind item that came out too saying that, and this is, I mean, I believe it came out from Dumois, but they were saying that Erica is using this whole cocktail of like pills and medication and alcohol or whatever as like a focus to take away from the focus of the legal drama. So now they can focus on her behavior. I do sometimes wonder because going in, and I've had so many conversations with housewives, and I know some of them, like the best ones, they know what they're going to do before going into the season. They know how they want to be portrayed. Exactly. They know how they want to shift focus. Yes. They're really good at it. It's a game. And if you're good at playing the game, you have longevity. If you're not,
then you're out of here. And you're right. Because last season, you guys, you're right. When people needed to be asking her about where the money was and the victims, remember she kept coming to the parties talking about, I'm lit. I put that cannabis oil on my cooter and ooh, I'm lit. Remember? So she was setting it up last season to be more drunk and out of control this season. You see? And it's still, they're not asking her any questions. Oh, she's just this. Oh, she's just that. Nobody's asking her the hard questions. As far as Caroline Stanberry goes, she's weirdly angry at the nicest people in the room. I'm not sure what's happening with that. She like hates Ion for nothing. And now she hates Lisa because Sergio is nice.
Well, she's made nice with Ion.
Yeah, but that's just for now. She's only making nice with Diane because she has a new target in Lisa, because Sergio and Lisa had a moment and she was like, ooh, Sergio's looking at her lips and I'm not doing any deal. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but Carolyn is misdirected, but the show is good. I'm surprised about their ratings not being higher, but I give them grace because we expect low ratings for the first 2 seasons of most of these franchises, right? It takes
People
a good
forget that all the time.
Right, to get in there. And then the last thing that I thought about was, oh my God, the attack on Sutton's womb was like Roe v. Wade on reality TV. You're like telling her, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, Kyle, where you're
that didn't happen. I didn't know that piece of information. If I didn't know it, then it didn't happen.
Isn't it crazy the timing of some of these things when they play out on the TV as opposed to what's happening in the real, like in the world at the time?
Yes, it's so crazy because I'm like, that was bizarre. Do they pass all their storyline information past Kyle before the season starts for her to be like, oh, I didn't know that. You did not. You're lying. That was so bizarre to me, you guys. So bizarre. Oh yeah, and the last thing, the way Kyle and Diane were tag teaming Sutton, like they were trying to make her get in the van and they would return her passport after she paid off her debt. I mean, they were like tag teaming her, trying to break her down. Like, you just get in the van, bitch. Just get in the van. You know what I mean? Like they were like, what was that about? And the way they kept looking at each other, like it was a plan to like make Sutton crazy. And that's why Sutton was like, you MFer.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny. That's really funny.
That was fan-freaking-tastic. You guys are great. I'm gonna go back to the back. I'm sure you got somebody else in the back.
No, Larja, we love
Larja,
you. You always make us laugh. Thank you for calling in and thank you for sharing your opinions on this.
I love you guys. See you later. Peace.
All right, see you later. All right, so guys, I know that I said we have to cap this at 55, and I apologize. Jason and I have a meeting in 5 minutes, but we will get back next week only because it was my birthday this week on Wednesday. So we didn't actually watch the shows until Thursday. That's why we kind of put everything into one live. Next week, we'll have dedicated lives to Beverly Hills, Dubai, also Southern Charm, everything in between. In the meantime, this week, it was just kind of like a weird whatever. Also, don't forget, though, guys, I pinned it at the top of the live chat. There's 750 people in the room. At the top of the live chat, you can go click where we're doing a members only live on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're calling it Let's Whine About It. It won't be in the studio. It'll be somewhere else in our house, but just something more personal where we're not talking about Bravo. It's more personal topics, life topics, and it's just something for fun behind the scenes members.
We're going to talk about anything.
Literally anything. I can complain about them raising my rent over here.
Okay, we're not going to complain for
I can complain about not being able to sleep and Jason purchasing 8 mattresses in 1 year. I can complain about the fact that my kitchen's a damn mess because Jason didn't clean anything yet.
Okay, that is incorrect. This is because you don't know where the sink or dishwasher are. That's why the kitchen is
okay. Save it for the live. No, we do have some fun topics, so we'll get into it and we'll continue to post it on the community tab. Don't forget Monday 7 p.m. In the meantime, guys, we'll have pre-records coming your way. We love you guys. We'll see you next time. Jason, did I miss anything?
Nope.
Thank you to all of our mods, super chats, super stickers, and callers. And if we didn't get to you, I promise next time you're the first ones.